Emotions are often associated with romantic scenarios or intense physical encounters, according to some people. However, the reality is that emotions are present in all aspects of our lives. They influence our choices, aid in our understanding of the world, and are fundamental in our interactions with others. This book provides a comprehensive exploration of how emotions significantly impact your daily life. It elaborates on how they can be beneficial while also cautioning about their potential to misguide us. Furthermore, it emphasizes the pivotal role of emotional intelligence in effectively utilizing emotions to create positive outcomes and steer clear of detrimental situations. The book delves into how emotional intelligence facilitates a harmonious interplay between the emotional brain and the rational brain, illustrating how this skill can be cultivated and expanded. Finally, it addresses intriguing inquiries. How does emotional intelligence develop in individuals, and what societal significance does this ability hold? Emotions hold significance. They facilitate learning, enhance understanding of others, and motivate us to act. Is it a drawback to be driven by our emotions? Would we perform better if we were devoid of emotions, operating as unfeeling, purely logical beings? In truth, emotions are indispensable, granting us advantages that contribute to a fulfilling life. One of these advantages is how emotions aid us in assimilating lessons from our memories. When our brain stores experiences, it doesn't merely log facts. It also preserves our emotional responses, which assist us in learning from our encounters. For instance, when a young boy touches a hot stove and experiences intense pain, the memory of that searing pain becomes associated with the idea of touching another stove. Consequently, his emotions will hopefully deter him from repeating the action. Another benefit of emotions lies in their role in interpreting the feelings of others, aiding in the prediction of their actions. For instance, envision encountering an angry man. His body language, such as clenched fists or a loud voice, conveys his emotional state. Armed with this insight, we can anticipate his future actions. Perhaps he is on the verge of lashing out. The final advantage stemming from our emotions is their impetus for action. We need them to swiftly respond to a situation. Consider the angry man from the previous example. If we sense that he might erupt in violence, our emotions will trigger a sense of threat or anger, preparing us to react promptly if he shows signs of aggression. Individuals devoid of emotional capacity lose this drive to act. In the past century, many psychiatric patients underwent a brain surgery known as a lobotomy, which involved disconnecting crucial regions of the brain responsible for emotional processing. The outcome was a loss of initiative, drive to act, and a substantial portion of emotional capacity for these patients. Sometimes our emotions can impede our judgment or make us act irrationally. Our emotions are important tools for understanding and interacting with our environment. However, they are also flawed and can lead us to make mistakes. One such mistake occurs when we become overly emotional. In order to make sound judgments, we need to think clearly. Like a juggler, our minds can handle only so many items at once. And when we're in a state of heightened emotion, our minds are bombarded with alarming thoughts and disturbing images. Thus, there is no room for rational thought and our judgment is clouded. For example, when you are frightened, you may find yourself overreacting to situations, thinking they're more dangerous than they actually are. This is why when you're scared, you might mistake a sheet on the washing line for a ghost. Another mistake caused by our emotions is when we act suddenly before we have the chance to judge a situation clearly. When information enters our brain, a fraction of it bypasses the region responsible for rational thought, the neocortex, and directly enters the emotional brain. If it perceives this information to be a threat to us, the emotional brain can trigger us to act suddenly, without consulting our thinking brain. This is why you may jump out of your skin when you're in a dark forest and you see a strange figure out of the corner of your eye. The final way our emotions can lead us to act irrationally. Emotional intelligence empowers you to effectively handle your emotions and utilize them to achieve your objectives. But how can you harness the influence of your emotions without becoming overwhelmed by them? The key lies in possessing emotional intelligence, as it equips you to identify and regulate your emotions without being dominated by them. The initial facet of emotional intelligence involves recognizing and labeling your emotions. This step is crucial in managing your emotions. Research indicates that individuals who struggle to identify their own emotions are more susceptible to explosive emotional outbursts. Once you've acknowledged your emotions, it's essential to comprehend what triggers them. Frequently, how you perceive a situation influences your emotional response to it. For instance, if a friend passes you on the street without acknowledging you, an immediate thought might be that they're deliberately ignoring you, potentially leading to feelings of upset or anger. However, if you take a moment to consider why they didn't acknowledge you, you might discover alternate reasons that leave you less distressed. For instance, your friend might not have seen you because they were preoccupied with their thoughts and not paying attention to their surroundings. By honing the ability to recognize and regulate your emotions, emotional intelligence can guide your focus toward achieving specific objectives. For instance, envision needing to write a university paper on a subject you find interesting, while you'd much rather attend a film festival. Emotional intelligence can aid you in managing these diverse emotions. Even though the subject matter may not captivate you, you could attempt to view it from a different perspective, finding an aspect that does pique your interest. Additionally, understanding how the film festival would make you feel allows you to delay gratification and reserve the potential enjoyment for a more suitable time. Students who adopt this approach to managing their responsibilities tend to perform well academically, even with average IQ levels. Emotional intelligence is the skill that aids in navigating the interpersonal realm. Unless you reside in isolation, simply managing your own thoughts is unlikely to lead to a contented life. The presence and interactions of others significantly shape your existence, and achieving a fulfilling life necessitates adept management of your social engagements. Once again, emotional intelligence proves instrumental in this endeavor. Emotional intelligence promotes constructive social interactions by enhancing your ability to empathize with others. Understanding how you would feel in a specific situation assists you in estimating the emotions others might experience in similar circumstances. Additionally, your emotional intelligence facilitates the identification of others' emotions by interpreting their nonverbal cues. This enables you to assess a person's emotional state by observing cues like facial expressions or body language. For instance, if you observe someone with a pale complexion and a wide-open mouth, you would likely deduce that they have experienced a shock. Furthermore, you are likely to recognize such cues automatically, without requiring conscious effort. Empathy towards others, facilitated by emotional intelligence, allows you to conduct yourself in a manner that elicits positive responses from them. For example, consider being the manager of a company with an employee who consistently repeats the same errors. Addressing this issue and encouraging change is essential, but the approach matters. If you unintentionally hurt their feelings, they may react with anger or defensiveness, making them less inclined to implement the desired changes. However, by empathizing with their perspective and anticipating their feelings, you can approach the situation in a manner that increases their willingness to change. In essence, individuals with emotional intelligence can cultivate social skills, including the ability to educate others, mediate conflicts, or lead teams of employees. These proficiencies enable them to sustain relationships in the social milieu. Emotional intelligence necessitates an equilibrium between the emotional, feeling brain, and the logical, thinking brain. Our thoughts and emotions are intricately connected, their integration facilitated by the strong neuronal pathways linking the thinking brain, where rational thoughts evolve, and the feeling brain, the origin of our emotions. The foundation of our emotional intelligence relies on these neural links between the thinking and feeling brains. Disruption to these pathways can lead to deficits in emotional intelligence. For instance, when a person's emotional brain is disconnected from their thinking brain, they lose the capacity to experience feelings. This deficit encompasses a loss of emotional self-awareness, a critical element of emotional intelligence. Lobotomized patients exhibit evidence of this loss after the severance of connections between their two brains. The significance of the connections between the two brains is further underscored by the role of the thinking brain in rectifying the functioning of the feeling brain, an indispensable process for emotional self-regulation. Emotional self-regulation operates as follows. External stimuli, like a sudden loud noise, often trigger an overactive response in the emotional brain. The feeling brain instinctively interprets the stimulus as a threat, prompting a heightened state of alertness in the body. Our thinking brains step in to regulate this response. Following the loud noise, while the emotional brain sets off alarms throughout the body, our thinking brain evaluates the stimulus to determine any potential threat. If it discerns no danger, it calms both the feeling brain and the body, restoring clarity of thought. This mechanism prevents us from reacting excessively to every sudden noise we encounter. However, severing the link between the thinking and feeling brains disrupts this process. For instance, individuals with severe damage to the thinking brain struggle to regulate their emotions. Emotional intelligence contributes to improved well-being and enhanced success. What holds the key to a prosperous and gratifying life? You might believe it's a high IQ, assuming that the most intelligent individuals are most likely to lead content lives. However, emotional intelligence is equally vital in achieving this. Research suggests that individuals with high levels of emotional intelligence have a greater likelihood of achieving success. For instance, studies indicate that students displaying high levels of empathy perform notably better academically than their less empathic peers with comparable IQs. Similarly, students who demonstrate control over their impulses tend to achieve more success than their counterparts. A study titled, "The Marshmallow Challenge," conducted by Stanford University tested the ability of 4-year-olds to resist consuming a treat. Years later, it was found that those who exhibited impulse control at age 4 displayed superior academic and social performance throughout their youth. This success extends into the realm of adulthood, where managers possessing higher social acumen tend to be more persuasive. Furthermore, emotional intelligence can contribute to a healthier lifestyle. This is evident when considering stress. During stressful periods, our hearts experience significant strain due to heightened blood pressure, putting us at risk of cardiac issues. Stress can also weaken the immune system, as illustrated by a study indicating that individuals under stress are considerably more susceptible to catching a cold. Nonetheless, emotional intelligence equips us to mitigate the perils of stress. Learning to manage stressful emotions like anxiety and anger helps mitigate their adverse effects on health. For instance, in a clinical study, individuals with a history of heart attacks were coached to manage their anger, resulting in a significant reduction in their risk of subsequent attacks. Considering the substantial impact of emotional intelligence on both success and health, it is surprising that emotional skills are not adequately emphasized in the typical school curriculum. The fate of American society hinges on the emotional intelligence of its youth. While possessing high emotional intelligence promotes individual happiness and well-being, lacking it can lead to adverse societal consequences. For instance, the significant rise in the U.S. teen murder rate from 1965 to 1990 can be linked to a decline in emotional intelligence. Compelling evidence suggests that emotional intelligence deficits can contribute to delinquency, a substantial factor in the rise of crime rates. Studies indicate that violent teenage delinquents struggle with impulse control and have difficulty interpreting facial expressions in others, traits also found in adult sex offenders. Additionally, emotional intelligence challenges are observed in individuals dealing with substance abuse. For example, heroin addicts face difficulty in managing anger even prior to their addiction. Undoubtedly, a child's well-being is profoundly influenced by emotional competence. Children raised in an environment surrounded by emotionally intelligent individuals are likely to exhibit heightened levels of emotional intelligence. Research substantiates this by revealing that children of emotionally intelligent parents excel in regulating their emotions, experience lower stress levels, enjoy better relationships with their peers, and are characterized as more socially adept by their teachers. It comes as no surprise that a child's emotional intelligence is closely tied to their welfare. Children lacking self-awareness, empathy, or impulse control are at risk of developing mental health issues and often encounter challenges in an educational setting. Collectively, this evidence underscores the pivotal role of children's emotional intelligence in shaping the future of our communities. Today's children will be tomorrow's parents, managers, and policymakers, exerting a significant influence on future society. Consequently, communities would greatly benefit if those in positions of authority displayed empathy, proficiency in conflict resolution, and a capacity to refrain from impulsive actions. While multiple diverse societal factors contribute to the well-being of a future community, emotional intelligence undoubtedly ranks among the most influential ones. There are various methods to enhance your emotional intelligence. Given the understanding that emotional intelligence can contribute to a satisfying life, you might wonder if it's possible to improve it. The answer is affirmative, and a series of practices can aid in achieving this. To boost self-awareness and self-management, engaging in inner dialogues can be beneficial. This technique assists in recognizing and labeling your emotions. For instance, if your friend confides in everyone but you about his marital issues, you might feel hurt. Engaging in an inner dialogue can help address this. Ask yourself, why am I feeling hurt? Because my close friend shared his marital problems with everyone except me. Having identified the emotion and its source, you can lessen its impact. You might reframe it by saying, I might feel excluded, but perhaps he didn't want to burden me knowing I was preoccupied with the annual accounts. This way, the emotional distress is alleviated. To enhance empathy, practicing mirroring another person's body language can be valuable. Body language not only communicates emotions but also triggers them. For instance, mirroring someone's tense posture may induce tension within yourself. If you aspire to improve self-motivation and cultivate a positive mindset, follow these guidelines. The manner in which you interpret your triumphs and setbacks influences your ability to self-motivate. Adopt a mindset where failures are attributed to changeable factors, allowing you to persist in your efforts. People who convince themselves that they can alter the course of their failures are more likely to persevere. They believe that their actions can lead to a successful outcome. Conversely, those who perceive setbacks as a result of an inherent and unchangeable personal flaw tend to give up swiftly. They are convinced that they have limited control over their success. To strive for success, steer away from this line of thinking. You can apply emotional intelligence across various scenarios, whether it's at work or in your romantic relationships. Having gained insights into emotional intelligence, you might now wonder how to practically utilize this knowledge. Here's some practical guidance to help you apply your emotional intelligence in your daily life. The first tip is to consider the distinct approaches men and women typically have towards handling emotions, which can help avoid misunderstandings in relationships. Typically, girls are encouraged to openly discuss their emotions and connect through heartfelt conversations, while boys often learn to downplay emotions that might expose vulnerability. For instance, if a female partner expresses dissatisfaction or frustration about something, the immediate reaction from a male partner might be to provide solutions. However, this may not be the most effective approach. Often, when a woman vents about a problem, she seeks validation and empathy. She wants her partner to listen and demonstrate understanding. Thus, offering an immediate solution could be misinterpreted as dismissing her distress rather than an attempt to assist. It's better to attentively listen to her. You might also find value in this advice. When engaged in a disagreement and feeling highly upset, consider taking a break to calm down. Intense emotions can distort your thoughts, leading to potentially regrettable words or actions. Fortunately, taking a step back to cool down can be beneficial. In fact, some marriage counselors suggest that couples monitor their heart rates during an argument. If the pulse rate significantly exceeds the individual's average rate by more than 10 beats per minute, it indicates heightened emotional intensity, suggesting the need for a pause to regain rational thinking. The final piece of advice is to be specific and constructive when offering criticism to someone. If you need to critique someone, pinpoint a particular incident and precisely outline what could have been done differently. Additionally, highlight what was done well. This approach ensures clarity and prevents the recipient from feeling devalued or confused. Concluding remarks: the central idea of this book is that emotions play a crucial role in guiding our actions and decisions, but they can also lead us to act illogically. This highlights the necessity of emotional intelligence. a set of skills enabling us to recognize and manage both our own and others' emotions. Emphasizing emotional intelligence is vital for leading a satisfying life. Unlike IQ, emotional intelligence proves to be a superior predictor of academic achievement, job performance, and overall success. The notable aspect is that we can enhance our emotional intelligence continually throughout our lives. Practical guidance. Recognize the paramount role of emotional intelligence in a child's well-being. If you're a parent or educator, consider implementing the following straightforward strategies to help children cultivate their emotional skills. Encourage open discussions about feelings, promoting emotional self-awareness. Provide appropriate vocabulary to articulate their emotions if they face challenges in doing so. Offer praise for their accomplishments and display of self-control. This instills faith in their capacity to enhance their lives through their own efforts. When providing feedback or criticism, be specific and constructive. Point out particular incidents, highlighting areas for improvement as well as strengths, ensuring clear communication without causing offense. During intense disagreements when emotions run high, take a break to regain composure. This can prevent impulsive and hurtful reactions fueled by anger.